So welcome everybody to our webinar, Ask the Experts About AAS Winners for 2025. So these are very new, recent winners, but they are available at retail. I'm Diane Blazek. I'm the Executive Director for All America Selections and National Garden Bureau. So what I want to do first is start by introducing our panelists. I'm going to kind of run down here in order, and then you guys can go back and do a brief introduction of yourself and your breeding companies. So we have two Allisons with us today. We have Allison from SAHIN Taki Europe. We also have Allison from Bejo Seeds. We have Isabel from Pan American Seed. We have Jamie from Syngenta Flowers, Jason Riley from Sakata, and I think we have Joe from Him Genetics. If not, he'll join pretty soon. Christopher Carlson from Sakata, and Myra Manning from Tokita Seeds, David Zarnecki from Benary, Tanya from Ball Horticultural Company, and Tyler from Bayer. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. Let's see here. Do we have Rick on here? Well, I'll introduce Rick when he comes on. So with that, if you guys can remember the order I introduced you, why don't we start out with the two Allisons, and you guys can introduce yourselves and your companies, and then we'll go from there.
Sure. Hi, I'm Allison Zeeb. I work for SAHIN Taki Europe as the account and product manager. SAHIN is the kind of the home garden team of Taki Europe. So we're a seed breeding company based in the Netherlands. And as a home garden side of the breeding company, I get to see everything, and we breed everything specifically for you guys, for your home gardens. So you see everything that's interesting.
Thank you. The next Allison.
Hi, everyone. My name is Allison Wallig from Bejo Seeds. Our main office is located in the United States in California on the Central Coast, but we're an international vegetable seed company. We're involved in breeding, sales, and marketing of vegetable seeds, and I'm really happy to join everyone today. This is my first AAS webinar, so thank you all for having me.
Thank you. And Isabel.
Hi, I'm Isabel. I'm from Pan American Seed. Pan American is largely a flower company, so you all might be familiar with things like wave petunia, which is one of our big categories, but we also work in vegetables and herbs, and I'm the product manager of vegetables and herbs, and it's a really fun space to work in because we largely breed for home gardeners, so we focus a lot on flavor and vegetables that do well in smaller spaces and have added disease resistance, and I'm happy to be here. It is also my first AAS webinar, so excited to talk about our winner this year.
Thank you. And Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie Gibson, Syngenta Flowers, delighted to be here. Syngenta Flowers, amongst its legacy companies, has been around since 1874. So we're a breeder of cuttings and seeds, a supplier. We touch about 120 countries globally, about 5,000 employees worldwide. We offer these genetics for garden performance. My role is primarily in the technical services part, working with the growers early, but then a lot of trial activity throughout the growing season for performance.
Thank you. And now we're going to we have two representatives from Sakata. Jason is representing the vegetables, and Christopher is representing the ornamentals, I believe. Do I have that right, you guys?
Correct. I can kick it off and just say, yeah, I'm Christopher Carlson. I'm a research manager with Sakata Seed America. I work on the ornamental side. Sakata is a long-standing ornamental flower breeder. We have many branded products focused on consumer performance like Sun Patience, Super Cal, Majestic Giants Pansies. We're excited to be here and talk about our new AAS winner.
Thank you. Okay, and Jason.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Again, I'm Jason Riley. I work for Sakata Seed on the vegetable side. Vegetables, Sakata is one of the leading breeders of vegetable varieties. Specifically for me, my job entails focusing more on the home garden side of Sakata. So that's all you guys and gals listening in. So I sell to seed packet companies, mail order companies. So if you go online and you're looking for one of our varieties from Burpee or whomever, those are my customers. That's what I do. Happy to be here.
Thank you. And Myra.
Hi, everyone. I'm Myra Manning. I'm the general manager of Tokita Seed America, which is the U.S. branch of Tokita Seed Company, which is an international breeding company based in Japan, in Saitama, about an hour from Tokyo. We're a 107-year-old company, third generation, family owned, and we focus on breeding in a variety of crops, including brassicas and cucurbits and a lot of Japanese vegetables, Asian vegetables, such as bunching onions, kabochas, Asian greens. And we, one thing I like to share about Tokita breeding is, we work on a lot of, market vegetable crops and making improvements that are important for growers and eaters there, but also really, focus on adding something unique and interesting to the plate and to your gardens. And I think, for example, we're the company behind Sun Gold tomatoes. And I think we're really excited about this AAS winner that we're going to share. And I think that's another example of that. So thank you.
Great. Thank you. And David.
Hello, Dave Zarnecki. I'm formerly the breeding manager of the facility we had in Watsonville, Ernst Benary of America. Now I'm the breeding manager for the German facility here in Hannover Schmünden. I also do some breeding. I've worked on a few crops over the years, and the winner this year was one of them.
Excellent. Thank you. So we literally have people from around the world here. Tanya.
Hi, I'm Tanya Carvello. I'm a territory manager under the Ball Horticultural umbrella. I work with both ball floor plant breeding and Selecta 1 breeding. Ball floor plant breeding is breeding we do here in North America for the North American gardener and consumer. And Selecta, we do our breeding in Europe. And I'm actually headed there in 4 hours to make selections for 2027 and 2028 introductions to the North American market. So pretty exciting day coming up for me. And thank you for having me, Diane.
Yes, thank you. And be looking of which ones might go into some future AAS trials, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, and Tyler.
Hi, I'm Tyler Ash. I'm the main sales rep for Seminis Home Garden through Bayer. Seminis has been producing predominantly hybrid vegetable seeds for many decades now. And I think we have something like 20 AAS varieties that are commercially available right now. We have many more that have since phased out, sadly, but we have better varieties now. So that just didn't get submitted. But I think the last two were peppers, and the one before that was an heirloom style hybrid tomato called Pink Delicious that is really good. But we're mostly tomatoes and peppers, but we do all the crops. I think we're one of the few that don't participate in the flower industry for better or for worse. I'm not sure. But yeah, I love what I do. The customers are fantastic. It's a pleasure to be in this industry, honestly.
I have to agree with you. I was just giving a presentation last week to a group of a garden club. And I think about 5 or 6 times in the hour that I was presenting, I was like, oh, and by the way, I've got the best job in the world. But with our panelists, I think we could all argue about that because we all love what we do. So with that, thank you for the introductions. And what I want to do now is go through our PowerPoint and show you these lovely photos. And so we will start in, and it looks like, unfortunately, our panelist is not here for this one, so I will talk about it a little bit. This is Piedmont Basil, and right now with basil, the downy mildew has been an issue for years, and so this is what we're getting in is newer varieties that are resistant. So this is Piedmont, and it does have the downy mildew resistant. Very late to flower also is another thing that more and more breeders are working towards so that you get all that flavor in the leaves and and it doesn't lose with the flowers at the end of the season. So that's our first AAS winner. And then our next one, Myra, you can talk about this beauty.
Okay, thank you, Diane. So this is our new variety of long-stemmed cauliflower. It's called Murasaki Fioretto 70, and the Murasaki means purple in Japanese. Fioretto is the long-stem cauliflower. We have an original one that's in white, and this is the purple complement to that. And the 70 indicates the days to maturity. So it's, a little bit relative, depending on the time of year and climate, but it's about 70 days to maturity from transplant. It's a long stem cauliflower, so it's different from kind of a heading type. You get to use more of the plant and enjoy these long stems that are really selected for improved flavor in the stems as well. They have these vibrant purple florets, as you can see here, which actually hold their color in cooking. And so, whether it's kind of a quick little boil or a saute or a roast or something like that, they will hold their purple color. And if you add an acid like a lemon juice or a vinegar to them, they actually turn to like this vibrant fuchsia pink color, which is really fun, a fun chemistry experiment. So yeah, these are intended for definitely gardens, growers. They're really intended for success in the field, but just again, really exciting for hopefully for you to add to your plate.
Thank you. Okay, so you said add lemon juice and it will keep the vibrant color?
So you can cook it however you want and it'll keep the color, but if you add lemon juice or like anything acidic like a vinegar, it will change color to be kind of this even brighter pink.
Okay, thank you. And I apologize. I just saw a typo on the slide. It should be F1, meaning a hybrid, not FE. Sorry about that. That was mine. My bad. Okay, thank you. And then next up, we have Christopher with the Celosia.
Yeah, we really feel at Sakata that a Celosia plumosa, a semi-dwarf type like this Flamma pink, is great for your garden bed when you have heat. I live on the central coast of California. I see from our chat that we have somebody here from San Francisco on the call. Really, Celosia in my garden does the best in the fall because that's when I actually get heat on the central coast of California. So think of a fall garden bed. You could play with the color of pink. We have other colors in this series, orange, yellows, reds. You could play with that in a garden bed and really create some impact color for your fall planting. Now, if we switch gears to a different region, I see we have representation from Tennessee, Indiana, all kinds of different places. We really feel in other climates, this Celosia Flamma pink is more appropriate for your summer garden, or I saw North Texas represented. That's probably like a spring garden because the heat sets in so much quicker in Texas. So anywhere where you have heat, this product is going to thrive. It sets seed very late. What that means for a consumer is that flower is going to hold really nicely through that heat season and provide you color for a long time. I'm always excited to see these in our Japan summer trials. Japan is hot, humid, nasty conditions. Last year when I was there, the heat index was 113 degrees and the Celosia Flamma pink looked absolutely gorgeous. We're really excited that this won. This is our second winner in the series. So Celosia Flamma Orange won in 2022. So we continue to innovate, add colors, and keep that standard high at Sakata for garden performance for the consumer.
And I have to comment on one of the really cool things. I think it was last year that you guys did at the California Spring Trials, our industry event. You put several of these colors and made it look like it was a fire pit. And it was beautiful because it looked like, little flames coming out, the orange and the pink and the other colors. So that was something very creative to do with them. Thank you.
Hey, well, I'm gonna step in real quick. That was me that made the fire pit with the flammas in our homegrown,
well, you
in our
just
homegrown
get credit
section.
for that one, Jason. Thank you. I loved it. I have pictures. I should have put it in here and I forgot. Okay, Allison, how about your Dahlia?
This is our Dahlia Black Forest Ruby. And it's really unique because usually you'll get dahlias from tubers. That's what everybody's used to. This dahlia is specifically from seed. So you can buy this in a seed packet, start it in the spring, and you'll have blooms by the summer. And it's such a unique color. The foliage is a dark, dark brownish black. Hence you get the black forest. If it was in the Germany black forest, I was thinking black forest chocolate cake with the name, but you get then the ruby flower, which is a single to semi-double flower. We recommend if you plant them in groups of 3 to 5 to really make an impact in your garden or in containers as like a thriller with your spillers around it. The red is so red, as in a neon red. If you put it in the back garden, you'll be able to spot it from a distance out there.
Yeah, that's where I had mine last year in my garden, and you're absolutely right. My house is kind of a navy blue, and it was beautiful against the house. So love that one. Thank you so much. Okay, and Tanya to talk about the Dianthus.
So Dianthus Capitan Magnifica is one of our more vigorous, robust Dianthus carnations that we carry from Selecta One. What I liked about the Capitan Magnifica when we introduced it, number one, was the fragrance. Incredibly fragrant, very large double flowers. And because of its robust nature, you can also use it as cut flower carnations. When you put it in your garden, you'll get a longer peduncle stretching up before you get your bloom on top, and you can use them and put them in a shallow vase and have them as cut flowers. They also work around Valentine's. You might be out in your garden center or in a retail garden center setting and see these around Valentine's Day. For the home gardener, you could pick this up at Valentine's Day or Easter, keep it in your home until your last frost date, and then move it outside, and it will take a light frost in the fall. So you're going to have upwards of 9-10 months of blooming power from this carnation. So that's Capitan Magnifica.
Thank you. And now we have the Kohlrabi from you, Allison.
This is our beautiful deep purple Konstance Kohlrabi. The bright purple color extends from the root through the leaf veins amidst like these beautiful blue-green leaves. And it just creates a beautiful plant in the ground and also on your farm market tables. The bulbs are refined for easy cleaning and peeling, great for offerings as bunches or in community supported agriculture boxes and roadside stands for our home market gardeners. The edible bulb is crunchy with a clean, refreshing, like slightly sweet taste. And it's great as raw sticks, chips, shavings, or lightly steamed in the form of vegetable noodles. So it's excellent in multiple applications and a great addition to your farm.
I had not thought of those for veggie noodles. When I was doing my presentation the other day, I was talking about how fun this one would be to get your kids gardening and have them plant some kohlrabi because it just looks so cool. So hopefully we're doing that. Yeah. Okay, and David, I think this is your baby.
Yeah, it's one of them. So this mango tango is interesting. We saw it in the field, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and it just really just kind of glowed. And one of the reasons for that is really, I think, because of the really strong contrast between the sort of primrose, sort of like what I kind of think of like a French manicure. It's really just like a nice tip around the edge of the petal. And it's a really light primrose yellow and then with a really dark red center. And then what also makes it a little bit special is that it has an anemone flower, but it times more up with the crested marigolds. But the anemone flower actually gives it more impact, I think, because the crested flowers tend to shoot out through the middle of it, therefore kind of like blocking the pattern a bit and maybe kind of muddying up the pattern a bit. So I think that's kind of why this one's a little bit special.
Okay, thank you so much. And now we have 3 colors of the baby series of Nasturtium for you, Allison.
This is the Nasturtium baby series. All right, think of a baby in the name. Babies are small. This tropiolum is a small, compact series, and that's what makes it so unique. It stays in a circle in your garden, and the flowers sit above the leaves. So you're not just going to get with usual nasturtiums where you get the leaves and then you can see some flowers trailing through it. You get the compact plant, and the flowers that sit above. It's great in salads. You can eat the flower petals in your garden. And I personally like to use them as border plants. So you stick them up in front, right where you can see them. And then as you walk by or have kids walk by, you pick a flower off and eat it. And it'll taste like a kind of like a sour apple is how I consider it. But there's 3 colors to the series right now. That one for the sister series, the gold, red, and yellow. And we always have more colors coming.
Excellent. Thank you. And Rick, I see you are here. And so we are going to have you introduce yourself. And I'm going to flip back to your basil. I introduced it before you came on, but I'm sure you have more to say than what I do. So I'm going to go back to that slide while you introduce yourself. And then you can talk about the basil.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Rick Brazzini. I'm Garden Genetics. I'm a plant breeder, have been most of my adult life. This basil started in 2010 as downy mildew was beginning to be a problem in the industry. We had segregating populations of basil in the field. There was probably, a quarter acre of basil plants that year. And I had a plant pathologist on staff. And she said, Rick, you've got downy mildew in your basil. So I said, what's that? And she took me out to the field and showed me how to identify downy mildew. And we walked the many thousands of plants in that quarter acre and found some families that, in the midst of a bad downy mildew infection, we had families that were apparently tolerant or resistant to downy mildew infection. So that looked valuable to me. And all of a sudden, downy mildew became a primary target rather than just the other more ornamental aspects I was working on.
Great.
Piedmont is the first release of probably 5 or 6 basil varieties, different colors, different flavors, different habits, but they're all going to be strongly downy mildew tolerant. I prefer the word tolerant over resistant because, in all honesty, depending where you are, any downy mildew resistant variety may or may not get downy mildew. The resistance is not 100%. It is not immunity. And if you think about what we all went through during the COVID-19 pandemic, where every week it seemed like there was a new variant showing up, the same thing is happening with the downy mildew pathogen. It is evolving faster than any plant breeding program can keep up with. And the only solution is going to be constantly going to the newest varieties and trialing all of the things that are claiming to be downy mildew resistant and seeing which one works for you this year. I'll warn you that it might not work next year because the pathogen is changing really fast.
This is very true. So get it while you can and while it is resistant or tolerant. Yeah. Thank you so much, Rick.
You're welcome.
Okay. Now we're going to go back to, we had just finished with the Nasturtium. So Tyler, it's time for you to talk about peppers.
All right. We are very excited about this one. This is part of a series actually, but the yellow won the national award. So we decided to go with that one. It has a red and an orange counterpart as well. So the Pick and Pop series is a grow anywhere, grow anytime pepper option, selected for exceptional eating quality and flavor. These varieties are sure to be as popular with home gardeners as they are with commercial growers. And in fact, when you go into the grocery store and you get those little bags of red, orange, yellow, mini pointed peppers, these may or may not be very similar to those. So you can now grow those in your own backyard or, on your small farm too. So they have been selected to harvest for an extended period. All of these Pick and Pop peppers will be sure to provide your family with harvestable peppers all season long. And they taste so good that once you harvest them, you're going to want to pop them right in your mouth. So that's kind of why we named them Pick and Pop. Once you pick them, you just can't stop. So they're cute, snack-sized mini peppers, extra sweet with just the right amount of juiciness and crunch. They produce continually, like I said, and these yellow ones in particular have a very small plant habit. So they do exceptionally well in pots and raised beds. And I think this variety actually won. I think AAS did the first ever potted trial, right? And this one won. Is that correct?
It's one of the first ones that, was in our edible container trial. So, yeah.
Generally around 70 days from transplant, you'll start seeing, peppers pop up. And this particular series is resistant to all 10 races of Xanthomonas, the bacterial leaf spot. So I don't believe there's anything else out there in the market that has that resistance yet. So we're excited. They taste great. Hopefully you find them, go buy them, go eat them, go pick them and pop them.
I was glad you said that and how you came up with the name. And Gail put the link in the chat. So go there and you might have a tongue twister on your mind after you read the description for this one. We had fun with that one. Okay. And Jamie, you get to talk about Dekko Maxx now.
Yes. Yeah. So with that Dekko Maxx name, the 2X, when you see that with the Syngenta brand, that means maximum performance. So this is an extremely highly vigorous variety, vegetative petunia variety for the garden. It reaches about 3 feet in width and about 1.5 feet high. And it's a Dekko, and Dekkos are bred to be very durable and rain tolerant. So you can get these heavy rains in the summer, and their rebound effect is really strong. So the flowers pop right back up. They're real bright pink. The critical piece with any vegetative petunia is to keep these well fed, whether with a controlled release fertilizer or with a soluble fertilizer. But these are great for the ground, filling a garden space, and also for large, whiskey barrels or larger containers. So you really want to really put this in a spot where you want to get maximum fill.
Beautiful. Thank you. And these are the AAS Winner is Shake Raspberry down in the bottom. They do come in 2 other colors, the blueberry and strawberry. But this is a seed raised variety, and it has been bred to be more compact, and it has that unique coloration color pattern. I say it looks like you took lemon sorbet and raspberry sorbet and kind of threw it in the blender and mixed it up, is the color of these flowers. So that's Shake Raspberry. And then from the same breeder is, this is a series, the Double Shot Snapdragons. And the first one was orange red bicolor, and now this one is the yellow red heart. So it's a nice lemon yellow flower with that pinkish purplish red throat on them, and they are semi-double flowers. So those are 2 of ours that come from Him Genetics, our recent AAS winners. And now we get to talk about vegetables, which is the Green Lightning from you, Isabel.
Yeah. So green lightning is a type of summer squash called the patty pan squash, also sometimes referred to as a scallop squash. It was bred by Joseph Stern, and one of the great features of it is it's very easy and early to mature, so about 40 to 45 days to a ripe fruit. One of the great things about patty pans are when I explain how to eat patty pans, I usually recommend harvesting them when they're smaller than the size of your palm, so you do get a more tender fruit. Green lightning can be harvested when it's larger than that, and for that I'd recommend kind of like scooping out the insides and roasting and stuffing the squash. But there's a lot of ways to eat patty pan squash. I would recommend just cooking them how you would cook a zucchini. Green lightning does have a bush habit, so it's not going to be a squash that like crawls along the ground. It is going to be more upright and mounded, so it could work well in smaller garden spaces. Another great feature of it is it has more of an open habit, so you don't have to dig around for your fruit, and there's minimal spines, so you won't be in pain trying to get your fruit. Yeah, I would say it's just a overall it's going to be probably the first thing to mature in your vegetable garden during the summer. Great flavor, fun to cook with, and it has really incredible green striping. So there's not a lot of patty pans out there that have kind of the stark green and light green stripes. Usually they're yellow or yellow with like a green ring on the bottom or light green. So just in itself, that's one of the great unique features of green lightning.
I always love serving the unique things to my guests at home, and they're like, "Oh, well, where did you find this?" It's like, well, I grew it, and so I love it. I love growing the unique ones, and the
Yeah.
green lightning is a great name. Lightning fast to mature, so clever on
Yes.
that one. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And now we have Thriller, which I feel like we should have some Michael Jackson music playing behind here. Jason, do you have that queued up and ready?
I do not, nor can I. I'm the worst singer of anyone in this group, I can guarantee you. So I will not be singing. So yeah, we're going to continue on the squash theme here. We're really excited about this one, and especially that it won. When I first saw this about 3 years ago at our trials that we had in California, as an experimental, we were just very excited about it, and we knew that this was going to be perfect for everyone out there watching and listening. It's perfect for the home gardener. And so why is it perfect for the home gardener? Well, number one, it's beautiful. And when you look at it there, it's the tricolored psychedelic striped fruits. And regarding those colors, what I will say is the most mature one is of those four fruits on the screen is the one on the right, in the middle on the right. It has the least amount of green. The youngest one is the one next to it in the middle on the left, which has more green. So it changes from the more green to more of a full-on orange. So what you can do is you can harvest it at any stage you want, any color you want. And what happens with some squashes, many of them, when you harvest, like let's say the one on the left there in the middle, if you harvest it at that stage, a lot of them will continue to ripen and change color. Thriller doesn't. So if you like that color for decorative purposes in the fall, harvest it at that stage. If you like it more orange, let it mature a little bit longer and then harvest it. So also for the home gardener, as far as squash goes, it I'm not going to say it's compact, but relatively compact for a squash. So if you have a smaller garden or you're a little bit shorter on space, this is a very good choice. I would not consider it a container plant, with that said. One of the other things, it might be my favorite thing about this, is it's very, very good eating. Last year when our company had some trials in California, we actually sliced them up, scooped out the seeds, because we were told they tasted very good by the breeder and other people within the company, but we hadn't tried it yet. So that's what we did. We sliced up, scooped out the seeds, and roasted them on the grill with just a little bit of seasoned salt. And they're very, very good. They have a good nutty flavor. I don't think there was anything else I wanted to say about holding also. Once they are harvested, these guys can sit on your front porch as a decoration or on your windowsill for literally 2-3 months, and they're going to be fine. So yeah, that's Thriller.
Multi-usage, I would
Yes.
say. That's great. Okay, thank you. And Allison, we're going to go back to you now to talk about your tomato.
This is our Bejo variety, Tenatico. It is a beautiful, has beautiful long clusters of fruit, and you can get up to 20 fruits per bunch, and there's many bunches per plant. Fruits are about 1 to 1.5 bites, and it's like a sweet, mildly acidic pop of flavor that Tenatico produces. Very delicious. Harvest happens over many weeks as the fruit ripen up to the bunches, and the fruit is resistant to cracking and splitting for the most part. And fruits have strong attachment to the plant, and they kind of wait to be harvested. So the garden is not littered with unusable fruit that can attract some unwanted critters or volunteer plants for growing outside of their selected rows for the next season. Tanotico also comes with a nice disease resistance package with Fusarium, nematodes, bacterial speck, and tomato mosaic virus. So we've really enjoyed Tanotico, and we're really proud that it won a regional award.
Great, thank you. Okay, and this Vinca is from a breeder that was unable to be on today. They are in Asia. So I will explain that this one, it's kind of self-explanatory. It's called Sphere Polka Dot. So very mounded habit, creates basically a sphere, be beautiful in containers as well as in ground, and it would just form that nice ball of color. The white flowers are not, it was not trialed for large flowers. It was a little bit smaller flowers, but they really cover that sphere. And then they have that pink polka dot in the middle. And of course, it's a Vinca, so it's going to be drought and heat tolerant, and will just give you flowers all summer long. So that's the Vinca Sphere Polka Dot. And now back to Allison on our panel to talk about her Zinnia.
This is our brand new Zinnia Crestar mix. My favorite flower is Zinnia, so I'm really excited for everybody to be using this Zinnia. It's a double flowered Zinnia, so if you see in the photo, you get the single flowers. I can't tell if it's in the left or right of the screen. And then you get the Crestar. So the Crestar refers to the middle of the flower, where you get that nice bump to give it a 3D look. And then you can get the middle Crestar, and then we almost have a double pom-pom look within the mix. It's a pastel mix. You get a range of reds, oranges, peaches, and a bright pink. We had recommended it for cut flower use. So if you stick it in your garden, you could technically grow it and then cut it and put it in a vase or a bouquet at home. You could also keep it in the garden. That's what I like to do. I like to grow it and just keep it, and you'll get hummingbirds. It's a pollinator friendly, bees all over it all summer. So it's a really nice Zinnia this time.
Excellent. Thank you. And sticking with Zinnias, Jamie, you want to talk about Zydeco and tell everybody what Zydeco is, because I think that was a really cool story.
Yeah, so this deals, connects right to the southwestern Louisiana style. So yeah, the Cajun style there. Just that kaleidoscope of color with Zydeco. This was bred by Todd Perkins, who has just retired from Syngenta Flowers. Tremendous accolades with Todd retiring. This beauty is great. It's a Marylandica, so it has that powdery mildew resistance in the garden, unlike the elegans, a lot of elegans types that kind of succumb to that disease. The good news about the Zydeco is the days get longer and the temperatures get warmer, the double flowers just continue to intensify. So this plant gets about 2 feet wide and about 2 feet tall. Just really striking solid color throughout the summer, all the way until frost, and blends well with a lot of those late summer annuals for that continuous bright, cheerful color that you need in the late summer.
Great. So yes, if anybody does not know what Zydeco music is, once the webinar is over, go to your favorite music streaming service and enter Zydeco. You will be very energized after listening to it. It's very peppy. So we had it on when we were writing the description for this, so it was great. So thank you, Jane.
Yeah, the real McCoy radio station you want to go to is K-Bone Radio down there in Louisiana. That's the real McCoy. So get a chance to take a look at Zydeco.
Okay, I'll have to try that one. Okay, good. So we have some time left, and so I've got a list of questions that anybody can jump in here. And one of the things we just want to talk about a little bit for any of our attendees here that are not quite aware, but what does it mean when a plant is an All-America Selections winner? When you see that logo that says AAS, what does that mean? So don't be bashful. Who wants to take this one?
I guess I'll jump in.
Okay.
So what does it mean? Well, it means it has been trialed all over North America at different trial sites, and with specific judges at each trial site, and the judges rate all the entries, and if it wins an AAS award, it's performed all over North America. And it's not something where all of us here on the panel, the breeding companies, we take lightly. We just don't throw 5, 6, 7 varieties and submit them to AAS. I'm assuming I can say this, Diane. I mean, we do, for those out there, we do pay to have these tested and hopefully win. So we are very precise in what we enter. So yeah, anyone else wants to say anything else? But yeah, it's because it performs.
Someone once told me that All America Selections is the Olympics of plant breeding, and I've kind of held on to that. So that's a good way of just summing it up.
I like that. And I say oftentimes it's like the Good Housekeeping seal of approval or Underwriter Laboratory seal of approval, except it's for plants. So it has that seal of approval. Yeah, so how about this question? When and where will these, plants be available, plants or seed? Obviously, some of these are vegetatively propagated and some are available as seed, or they will be available in your local garden center. I'll answer it, but anybody else can answer it also. One of the rules that we have with All America Selections is that the inventory is there and readily available. Now, there is a chain of distribution, so sometimes it takes a little while, and any of you can maybe explain the chain of distribution. But basically, when we announce the winners, they're available to start being introduced in that chain. In some cases, they have already been introduced commercially, and then they will be available to home gardeners. But does somebody want to talk about that chain of distribution and what it takes to get a plant or a seed through that chain?
If you look at something like Celosia
yeah,
Flamma Pink, it's a seed product. There's been at least probably 7 years of breeding development behind the scenes going on to get that color. And then you have to go through multiple rounds of confirming that you can successfully produce it before you even submit it to AAS. Now we've crossed all those hurdles on our side. We feel confident that we have the availability inventory available to our customers. There's probably small samples out there right now and in retail garden centers, but you'll see it in full force the following season. However, Celosia Flamma Pink is an additional color to a series that already exists. So you could readily buy Celosia Flamma in other colors at your garden center probably right now, depending on where you live.
Right. And like you said, orange, Flamma Orange was a winner 2 years ago, I believe. So that one will definitely be readily available.
Correct.
Okay. And Allison, I think you had something to add there too.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so I do all seed, and you would mostly find my varieties at the grocery stores or Home Depot or somewhere where you buy seed packets from. It could be online anywhere. And I will say there is a lag between getting it from me to you. Once the AAS award is announced, we have seed as a breeding company. So myself and the Netherlands have seed in stock, and that award is announced. So it triggers then the seed packet companies to go, hey, this is a good variety. It's been tested. We should pick it up. So then I get inquiries for them to pick up seed. So they pick it up, which takes weeks, months for them to get the seed to then repackage to then get to you. So yes, it's been approved this year, but you might not see it until either the middle of summer, end of summer, even next year, depending on when the seed packet companies had gotten the seed able to package it. Because you have to, like, if you've seen the seed packets, they have a picture on it. They got to make a picture for it. They got to put it in their inventory. It's a whole process to it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Sorry, I'm going to take off the screen share now so we can see all your lovely faces for our discussions. But yeah, to that point, Allison, we do on every AAS Winner page, we have a little where to buy button. So as the customers of our panelists tell us they have it available, I think somebody mentioned Burpee, there's Burpee and Jung and Territory, there's I think we have about 30 retail members that we're able to source from, and then we list them on each AAS Winner page. So as soon as we know that they are selling it, we do put it on our website. We also have a general page called Buy AAS Winners, so that lists all of our retail members. And so when you go there, for the most part, a lot of these online retailers are really good by tagging AAS Winners. So you can search AAS Winner on a website, and then you'll see everything that they have that pops up. So, okay, that's great. What about some of these things? I heard you guys talk about a lot of the reasons why they won, but I want to kind of talk about it from a different angle. Do AAS winners typically produce better? Do they have better yields? Are they earlier? Do they have more flowers? How important is that in winning an AAS designation? And is that what a lot of you are working toward with your breeding? So that's kind of a question that all of you can answer.
I'll jump in real quick. What were our breeding directives, let's say for Sakata on the vegetable side, generally speaking, isn't for ornamental value. I mean, our breeding directives for everyone on this panel, for everyone listening out there, they're different for each class of products that they are breeding for. So for example, for something like our thriller squash, yeah, we're breeding for powdery mildew resistance, we're breeding for taste, we're breeding for aesthetic appeal. So yeah, I think it's a different answer for all of us. Again, me from the vegetable side, we're usually not looking at flowers in that respect. So yeah, so that's at least my answer from my perspective.
I think for us, for this year's winner with the Capitan Magnifica carnation, I think it was versatility, bringing a potted crop into the home, moving it out to the garden, so the homeowner, the home gardener, has longevity in the crop. But like he just said, it depends on the class. It depends on the genre that we're breeding, what we're entering into AAS. I can make a reference to a couple of years ago, we had a Petunia that won gold medal. And it was the first Petunia in 50 years to win this coveted award. And we entered that and we bred for that, for the hybrid breeding that went into it, the ability to use it for the garden or potted containers. How vigorous it was, how it filled. So there so many different attributes went into breeding bee's knees for us to think to put it in as an entry for AAS. So everybody here on the panel is going to have different kind of specs of what we're looking for, depending on the genre.
And I was getting ready to tell you, you can say the name of a past winner, especially a gold medal, so that's fine, yes. Good. Does anybody else want to talk about some of the things they're doing breeding? I keep referencing my presentation last week to this garden group. And one of the things that I've seen a lot, I would say over the last 10 or 15 years, is drought tolerance. We've talked about disease tolerance, but, either breeding for drought tolerance or just overall that it will take less water. And I think that's an example of what the breeders are seeing out there, of what the home gardener is saying, this is what we want. We don't want to have to care for it as much, or, as climate change is occurring, we still want to plant these beautiful annuals, perennials, whatever it might be. So that's one of the things that I see very commonly coming about, is the drought tolerance or low water usage. Is there anything else that you guys want to bring up?
One thing that I can mention, actually in relation to the AAS winner this year with this long stem cauliflower, is labor and the amount of work in harvesting or processing in the kitchen and things like that, that we're also thinking of, some of those kitchen attributes. And, with this cauliflower in particular, the idea is to kind of have this like one cut where you can just harvest, and, you can even process it in the garden or in the field and get all these, different florets that are really easy to use, and you can just, toss them in olive oil and throw them on a pan and easily eat them. So that's another thing that we're starting to think about as well.
I would say more bang for your buck when you look at the use of these plants in the garden, more fill in the garden, less plants required for garden spaces. You also think about their durability in environmental stresses, but also looking at some of these crops that can be used not only as a garden plant, but also as a cut flower. So just trying to harvest those stems and put them in vases, bring them into your home to bring that decor also indoors.
Multi-use. I think we mentioned that a couple times. So would anybody like to talk about comparisons? We haven't brought that up. I will preface it by saying that every AAS entry is trialed next to one, maybe two comparisons. And this would be things that are already on the market that are similar. So from a breeding perspective or as tips for the home gardener, who would like to talk a little bit about some of the comparison varieties?
I'll just mention that none of our internal trials happen without comparison varieties. We're always constantly measuring ourselves against what we think is the best in the industry. It might be our variety, it might be somebody else's variety. And I'm almost certain that every breeding company is doing the same thing. I like the comment on the Olympics of plants, that all that training that you do to prepare for the Olympics, that happens for many years, right? So every breeding company is trying to prepare and train themselves in the background by comparing and then making recommendations to AAS on what we think is the best in the industry that we want to measure against, right? This is serious to us, so we always put forward the best of the best. We're always trying to all raise the bar. That's what's great about this industry. We all know each other as panelists on this call. It's friendly competition, and it's important to us to continue to evolve genetics for better performance for those consumers.
Exactly. And so I will take that like one step further. So yes, when the breeder enters a new variety, they tell us their suggestions for comparisons. And then it's not like we just take their word. I mean, they're very trustworthy and everything, but it actually goes to a comparison committee. And I'm looking at this panel, and I think I'm going to pull a few of you in for some future comparison committees. But what the comparison committee does is they look at all the traits that the breeder has said, this is what it should be judged for. This is why we think it's going to be a winner. And then we look at it in comparison to the comparison and say, well, this one is a much taller zinnia, so it probably shouldn't be grown next to that one. And, you know, you have to look at all these individual things. So it's a whole committee. There's usually about 5 or 6 people on a committee, and we get together on a phone call and we discuss it and narrow it down. And then we come up with our choices of comparisons. So does anybody else have anything else to add about comparisons? Okay, one of the things that I heard everybody talk about, well, almost everybody, is like in-ground versus container. And so we do now trial for both if the breeder selects it. So let's hear, David, I know Mango Tango was put in both the container and in-ground trial. Do you want to talk about the performance, why you chose both, and you know what the results are now that it won in both categories?
Yeah, sure. So you know, I think that marigolds are, you know, they're kind of an interesting crop because they kind of gone through a phase of being sort of like old, passe, and then now they've kind of made a bit of a resurgence. And you know, whenever we evaluate marigolds, we primarily do it in the ground, but you know, they perform, you know, as well, if not sometimes better in containers. And they really sometimes add a really nice opportunity for a mixed container or something like that. And in addition to the fact that it's a super, super fast crop time. So, you know, if you're really looking for something that you want to add as a grower, and you said, oh man, okay, maybe I've got a little bit of space or something, you know, a marigold could really fill that, you know, fill that hole for you. And being that it's a really strong bicolor, you get a little bit of dual purpose out of it. So, you know, we thought that having a nice container and the ground performance would showcase the variety nicely, and apparently it did.
Does anybody else? I think quite a few of you have the container trial was where your winners really excelled. Does anybody else want to comment on that, or how they decide which trial they're going to put their entry in?
Sure, I can touch on that one. So I mentioned previously the bee's knees. That would have been one we entered for both in ground and in container. Whereas the Capitan Dianthus is more of a potted or combination plant. You're not going to so much as use it in the garden. I did plant it in the garden at my home, and surprisingly, it came back. But that wasn't typically where we would recommend putting it. It's more of a component plant in a mixed container. Whereas bee's knees obviously fills the ground with beautiful cascading mounted yellow color, but also blends very well with other components in a mixed hanging basket or planter. So it just really came down to where do we want the home gardener, where do we want to suggest the home gardener see it? So where would we like to see AAS trial it is how we made that decision.
Good. Okay, if nobody has anything else to add on that, I think we're getting down to just a few minutes, but if there's any closing thoughts from anybody, if you each take 2 seconds, everybody can talk. I'm just kidding. But no, if you have any closing thoughts about AAS winners in general as your message, we can round up with a few of those.
I'll start. I think gardening is a fun space. So, one piece of advice I have is just to try something different. I think it's helpful that all of these varieties have been vetted, so there will be an element of success, but have fun and play around in your garden and try something new.
And Diane, on that note, I'll say Isabel just said, try something new. So I'm going to give you a pitch. Is that the right word? But there's an upcoming webinar in 2-3 weeks on why grow new items. So everyone who's listening, be sure to sign up for that one also.
Absolutely. There's a lot of reasons to try something new. Anybody else? Boy, I think we've got a bashful group today, or maybe you haven't had your midday caffeine.
Okay, I'll pipe in. I'll say that before I started working with Ball, now almost 9 years ago, and I would go to friends' garden centers. We have a big, friends of mine own a greenhouse garden center here where I live. And I always loved walking through the garden center, and I always wanted to know what was new, what was new. So if I didn't work in the industry and I saw that symbol of AAS, I knew it would be something exciting and new to try. So I know on behalf of us at Ball and all of us on the panel, we're very grateful for the designation, and we really appreciate the time and effort that goes into calling out these great genetics. So thanks, Diane.
Yeah, it is a long-standing organization, and we, with the support of wonderful breeders like we have on our panel, we will keep going for like another 90 some years. So that's wonderful. But thank you, everybody. I love the additional insights that you guys provide on our AAS winners. I might have to go back and update our website with some of the things that you guys brought up. So that's wonderful. And Gail put some links there for all of our AAS winners where you can search. Oh, and by the way, this September, we will be launching a new website that will be even easier for you to find AAS winners. So look forward to that. Put it on your calendar. We'll send out announcements. But thank you to everybody on our panel. We really appreciate your time, and we especially appreciate your wonderful products. So let's get out there and start gardening.
And happy Earth Day.
And happy Earth Day. Yes.
Right.
Thank you.